has been accused of violent anti-Asian hate crimes. Jason Rantz, Seattle radio host, joins us now. What can you tell us about these alleged incidents?
So Chris Hamner is the one who is accused. He is online, your model progressive BLM supporter. He appears to dislike cops very strongly. He's a big supporter of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. He hates Donald Trump, and he speaks out against hate crimes. In fact, a day after the Atlanta shootings, he posted on Facebook, "We've all had bad days, but it never justifies hate crimes." And then we find out that the day before, he actually allegedly committed a hate crime against an Asian American woman in Seattle as she was in her car with her two kids. He was screaming vulgarities at her, including Asian B-word, punching his hands into his palms as if he was getting ready to assault them. He was seemingly ready to attack. Now, luckily, she was able to get away, but this was not the only instance that he's alleged to have committed something similar. There was another instance in which he used his car apparently to cut off two Asian women who were driving, and a similar circumstance where he used vulgarities against them, citing their Asian identity, throwing items at the car. They thought that they were going to be assaulted, and then they too were able to speed away. So he has been charged with one count of a hate crime for the three instances. He just recently posted bail, and now he's out awaiting a trial.
Jason, this whole story of hate directed at Asians has been framed by many people in the media as white supremacy. I don't think the reporting has really been very good on this, because we've had on this program one person in particular who says that a lot of the hate directed against Asians has been directed at them by black folks. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, the data, at least in this area, is true. So in King County, overall, there have been 12 charges of hate crimes. King County, Seattle being the largest city here. Of the 12, you have 7 suspected hate crimes committed by black men. Of the 12, 5 of them are anti-Asian, and of those 5, 3 have been committed by black men, allegedly. So the vast majority of these are being committed by black men. Now, of course, when we see that data, we don't say this is a black supremacy issue. We don't say all black men hate Asian people. We just note that that's what the data says. And yet when there is one instance of a white person who maybe even there isn't any data to tie it to a hate crime, we automatically call out, on the left it's called out as white supremacy. And they do that because it's a political agenda. It is all about a very specific political ideology that says white supremacy is to blame.
Jason Rantz, thank you for joining us this morning on a difficult subject.
Thanks,
we appreciate you being here, Jason.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Then we get turned to Facebook. Oh, here we go. Censoring another New York Post story. Ashley, come on in. Which story? What's this about?
Yeah, remarkable story, really. Facebook has barred users from sharing a New York Post report about the multi-million-dollar property acquisitions by the co-founder of Black Lives Matter. When users tried to share the link to the story, they got this message. You cannot share this link, it says. Your post couldn't be shared because this link goes against our community standards. Now, in a statement to Tucker Carlson tonight, Facebook responded by saying, this content was removed for violating our privacy and personal information policy. Okay? That in turn prompted this tweet from Republican Senator John Hawley. Facebook censoring the New York Post. Where have I seen this before? Hawley, of course, referencing Big Tech's crackdown on the New York Post reporting on Hunter Biden's laptop, you may remember, during last year's election campaign. But look, the New York Post reported that BLM co-founder Patrisse Cullors, a self-described Marxist, recently purchased 4 homes for a total of $3.2 million. Now, BLM claims the reporting continues what it calls a tradition of terror by white supremacists. Stu.
It's really extraordinary stuff, isn't it? Censorship all across the board.
It really is.
Thanks, Ash.
Yep.
Berkeley, California is considering taking cops off routine traffic stops and putting unarmed civilians in charge. Claudia Cowan is in Berkeley. All right, Claudia, this is following from the mayor of, I think it was a Brooklyn center, who wanted unarmed cops on traffic stops. How's this going in Berkeley, California?
Well, good morning, Stuart. That's right. This idea has been discussed quite a bit, especially recently in many progressive cities. But Berkeley, California, is moving ahead with a plan to have unarmed civilians enforce speeding and traffic laws instead of police with guns. Last summer, the city council voted to create a whole new transportation agency, calling it BerkDOT, which supporters say will make routine traffic stops more equitable.
Black persons are 2.5 more times likely to be searched during vehicle stops, though they are less likely to actually net anything that leads to an arrest. So there's a difference in yield rates between black and white persons. Ultimately, as a black man in America, I feel a lot safer with an unarmed person who has a different focus stopping me. And, you know, that's just a total change in the atmosphere compared to what we have now.
Rather than commenting publicly, Berkeley PD has released pictures highlighting recent traffic stops that have led to big busts of drugs, cash, and loaded weapons. While dashcam videos are a stark reminder that traffic enforcement is dangerous work, even for officers with guns, let alone unarmed civilians. So BerkDOT is expected to begin sometime next year, and when it does, Stuart, a lot of other cities will be taking notes. Back to you.
They certainly will. Claudia, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, they'll be taking notes, all right. Next case. Let's change the subject. More than 125 million